Hey everyone, this is Hunter and this is Hazardous Opinions. I have Andy and Eric here with me, and I'm the new host added here. And they entrusted me for some reason with the intro. But yeah, we're covering The Thing from 1982, and this happens to be one of our host's favorite horror movies. So very excited to hear his takes on it and his feelings and why it's one of his favorites. But we're a little late into past Halloween, but that's all right. Let's just roll with it.
Yeah, it's my favorite of all time, actually, regardless of genre. But
wow.
Yeah, we did want to get this one out before Halloween. Didn't end up working out with schedules, so you guys will get this as a nice Thanksgiving treat, I guess, a little early.
Spooky Thanksgiving.
Hey, yeah, I love that.
With a bunch of noodly monsters.
Yeah, so this one came out in 82, as you said, directed by John Carpenter, who we've previously seen on our cast with In the Mouth of Madness. This one's also semi-Lovecraftian-esque, but it's actually based on a previous movie, I believe, from the 50s called The Thing from Another World. Yeah, very good movie. I think Carpenter scores this one as well. It's starring Kurt Russell, Keith David, who we love, and Wilford Brimley. Got a really good cast, and Kurt Russell with his just amazing hair. So this one it's a very basic premise. There's a research team that's out in Antarctica, which is similar to the original Thing from Another World. And then there's this alien that they find that shapeshifts in a very practical effect way to its victims that it consumes. And yeah, the movie just continues from there. What do you guys think of this?
Eric, you can go first.
Assimilation, monsters are fun. The crazy practical effects are fun. I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10.
I'm happy with that. That's good.
Andy, that's to your liking. Eric made you happy?
Yes.
Anything above a 7 I'll take for this movie.
Okay.
Man. Horror's not everyone's cup of tea, so...
It disowned me if I gave it a 6.
What about you, Hunter?
Compared to... I know, God, I need to live up to expectations here. Jeez, this is your favorite.
We'll got one shot. We're listening here.
Just take it. No, Andy, honestly, this is a good, very good, shall I say great, favorite movie to have, honestly, regardless of genre. Compared to a lot of classic movies that I hear over and over again, why it's so amazing, why it stands up. In previous years, I've checked out some of those and I've kind of been let down. I mean, I am aware of the times we live in and maybe I kind of missed the train on a couple of those, but with The Thing, it has not aged a day really to me.
It does not.
It could stand with so many modern movies. I could just group it with those, and it's just the way Carpenter, especially with Halloween, his the first Halloween that he made, that is one of my favorite movies, and it's even earlier than this movie, and he just makes it seem timeless and still just on par with how films are nowadays and what we've learned from previous films, so yeah. I don't even know if I could give it a rating. I suck at number ratings. I can't even rank my top 10 movies. It's just I love a lot of films in different ways, and they speak to me in different ways. So I mean, gosh, it's got to be, I don't know, it's got to be a 10. It's just I'm just so impressed with those practical effects, even though they might look I can tell that's fake and somebody made that. But
yeah,
I mean, do we really see aliens shape-shifting in our real life? No. So I can't say how that would look at all.
Right.
So yeah, no, I'm blown away by this every time I watch it.
So I guess have you've seen this one before?
Yes, yep, I watched it for the first time probably a couple years back when I started to finally get into a lot of those classics that people are like, you gotta see, you know.
Yep. Okay, that's good to know. I always wonder what people think on their first watches through, because once you watch it again, you're like, oh, now I know who is it and who's not.
Mhm.
Like any murder mystery. Yeah, this movie is just great. I love mysteries. It's kind of like a who done it, but in a weird sci-fi horror fucked up way.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because
You could
it's like,
compare it to Among Us, basically.
yeah,
Like for,
Yep,
people that have Among Us in their lives right now, yeah, this is basically Among Us. But,
yeah,
it is.
yeah.
but probably the other way around. I think Among Us based it off probably this.
Oh,
Absolutely.
yes. No, yep. I agree. That's what I mean. My
You
bad. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just it's the perfect movie. Like the practical effects, like you say, this movie's ageless because of that thing. It doesn't use CGI. It does everything in house, and it just makes it hold up. The movie doesn't look old, other than maybe the grainy aspects. But like even that, you can get upgrade versions nowadays. And
That's really it. Yeah.
I'm in the same boat as you. I can't give this a real rating. Like I'm too biased from seeing this 50 plus times. It's a 10 for me, just because it's a passion movie for me.
Amazing.
Yeah, could talk about that one all day, and it's a good movie. I do want to start with talking about the cast in this. Kurt Russell, obviously a little earlier in his career, just taking off, but he does amazing in this role as MacReady and sort of our semi main character. Doesn't really focus on any one person, but he's the most central.
Yep.
And then Keith David had a long career as well, and also just kills it in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't think any one actor fails in their role in this movie. Like I think everyone does really good here, and it's just outstanding, unique personalities from so like 12 different men in this movie.
Yes.
Yeah, just perfect. So, what do you guys think?
Well, and even hopping right into the movie, it gives you no character backstories at all. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's that's very hard to come by with many stories where they just don't give you backstories. It doesn't really matter. It just gets right into the plot seamlessly without like much character development, and everything isn't explained and said. You just notice like subtle details and imagery that like catch you right up, and you recognize what's going on right away, and those characters help it like with what they say. And yeah, like the performances really for an 80s movie aren't cheesy at all compared to, quite a bit where
Yeah.
acting was just, it was different. I'm not going to blame the actors. I feel like acting was kind of just different back then, and
Mm-hmm.
it's really evolved.
It was a
One.
lot more straightforward then, on like how they feel. Like nowadays, like acting is more of like you know, facial expressions and like more subtle. But I guess I can't really say that about this movie either. It's like it's still it's like a horror movie, so it's not like you really
Hmm.
need like in-depth characters
No, no.
other than like the monsters themselves. You can kind of sense like when someone's acting different, I guess, but
Yep.
really not all the time either.
I
Well,
do want to
even,
put one
oh,
thing out
no, go
before
ahead,
we
Andy.
delve into that too much. Sorry, I should have said this in the intro, but it wasn't streaming when I watched it. but it is now on Tubi, along with the prequel from 2011 and the original Thing from Another World. So if you guys are interested in this movie, Tubi's free. Go watch all three of them.
That's where I watched it on.
Yep.
And even, yeah, Eric, I totally agree with your point. Even Kurt Russell, the one that is kind of supposed to be the main character, you don't get a lot on him either. Unlike
Right.
if you take Halloween, like we were just talking about, another Carpenter movie, you have Laurie Strode, Jamie Lee Curtis. You kind of get familiar with her, and Kurt Russell just you're not very familiar with who he is, what his backstory is, just what he is in the moment and who he is in the story.
Yep. He's a pilot, and he's a badass.
Yeah,
exactly.
He's badass, and
he
so likes to drink too. Drink and play chess against the computer.
Oh, a bunch of those guys at that research station, like, what the hell else are you supposed to do at it?
Exactly.
To pass
out in the middle of nowhere. Yeah.
It kind of seems like North Dakota, doesn't it, guys?
Pretty much.
Yeah. Looks like it too. Oh man,
looks like
especially with this snow coming and the winter coming. When I was watching this, I'm like, God, we're gonna have to go through months of this. Let's go.
This looks like a January.
Yeah, it's very right at home for us. If I remember, I think it was actually filmed out in Alaska when I was watching some of the documentaries about it.
Oh, I believe it. Okay.
And yeah, they built like the whole set themselves. Like all those houses and stuff are all like constructed for the movie, which is of course why they're very like bare bones. If you pay attention to the background, like I don't think there's any insulation. It's all just like walls, and ceilings, and stuff.
Okay, that's very fair. I did not think about that.
It doesn't seem like there's a lot of stuff when it actually like burns down later in the movie.
No. And I mean, even if it is such a bare bones setting, it's still interesting to me. Like when the way Carpenter shoots inside of this, it could have been a very boring research facility, but I don't know. It really feels lived in, and that like these guys have spent that much time here, and you just kind of understand right away. You're kind of just in that understanding.
Yeah, you get the feeling that they've known each other for a long time, and they're to the point where it's just we don't need to exposit about each other. It's just casual relationships happening. You're just
right.
Windows, smoking pot, watching reruns for the 50th time or whatever. He's like, I've seen this one already. He pops in a different tape.
Right.
If I remember correctly, they were out there researching like the permafrost, right? Or they were like digging in the ice.
I actually don't even remember what they're studying. I know the Norwegian base was studying something like that because that's how they found the alien in the prequel.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I actually don't know what they're studying out there. None of them actually seem like scientists other than the doctor.
Yeah, the doctor. Yeah. I think they're all there for like handiwork for his research.
Kurt Russell seems like a handyman, or like security maybe. You don't really like, I agree with you, Andy. Only like a couple of those guys actually seem medically trained and actually doing data and stuff like that.
Yep, because there's two doctors, and then there's the sheriff-looking guy, Gary, who's kind of like the leader out there. McCree's the pilot, who's kind of like the actual leader, and then everyone else is just kind of like there's a cook, there's just support staff. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I loved when the cook was jamming to Superstition. Like that. That is a feeling. That's a feeling for sure. Just doesn't care. Doesn't turn it down even when they're trying to tell him to turn it down.
He just turns it up.
Yeah, no. Just keeps dancing like that. That's a guy I could hang with.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a unique movie because it's all male cast as well. They're all older guys. I don't think there's a single kid in this movie either, and it's just them. There's like just the 12 of them, other than the three or four Norwegians in the intro that are quickly dispatched.
How pent up do you guys think these men are without women out there at all? Any women interaction? Like us men would be lost without women. I can't imagine.
I know
Yeah.
it would definitely be using that flamethrower for more stupid shit.
Oh man, yeah. Flames, flames, extra flames. Yeah.
It really dates the movie compared to its 2011 prequel as well. When you watch that, and you're like, oh, now they're not necessarily like just interjecting females just because of wokeness. I actually really like the 2011 prequel and like Mary Elizabeth Winstead in there. She's stellar.
She's amazing.
But you could tell that this movie didn't even like have them in mind because none of the bodies at the Norwegian research station are female, and so when they're going back and retracking through the prequel, the few females in that movie are absent in the bodies.
I kind of get what you're saying. That's actually interesting, and I didn't pay attention to that in the prequel. I was gonna say that, yeah, thankfully they did add women into that and like made it a little more updated.
Yeah.
I I just you definitely can't take away that this is a lesser movie than the 2011 one. You know, I
Yes.
feel like this one just blows that one out of the water. I couldn't get on the same level with it that I do this, and that's why I'm saying it really stands up and stands the test of time. Really.
It's the one of the few things that does date the movie is that it's a male only cast. Because you guys have talked about how horror movies nowadays, you have backstories. Everyone's always going to have at least one person with a tragic backstory. You probably lost parents or grew up with abuse to really connect you to that character and feel like losing them.
Yep. Traumatic events leading them into the plot.
Yep, and there's just none of that. Just all males, no, just nothing that really ties it to how movies are made nowadays. And it almost gives me like a 12 Angry Men vibe that we did earlier on the cast, where it's like it's just 12 males in a room, and that's basically what this whole movie is. And it's just like,
Yeah.
okay, who are we
Fair
gonna kill?
comparison. Yeah. No, definitely. I will talk a little bit about one of the men involved, Kurt Russell. God, I love that dude. I he just can't miss in my eyes at all. And I wasn't even introduced to him the way many people have been. I just always heard his name, and then I finally saw him in a couple like kind of later on movies. Like I mean, there's more, but all I remember right now is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Him playing Ego.
Oh yeah.
Like you know, I know him from that. Not I didn't watch The Thing before that. And so it was really like kind of like a gift to be able to see him in this movie, you know, for the first time a couple years ago. I was like, wow, you know, open
Yeah,
my eyes.
I feel like that might be his one miss, but I don't think that's his fault. I think the writing
Oh,
for
fair.
Ego is just poor.
Fair.
It's the only
Okay.
Guardians movie I didn't really like too much.
Dang. Okay. Well, aside from Guardians, what I was also going to say was when I was watching this last night, my wife was sitting by me, and in my head, I'm like, okay, one of the notes I'm going to put down is that Kurt Russell and Wyatt Russell are almost indistinguishable from each other. Like at that point in Kurt Russell's life, in The Thing,
Yeah.
wow. And Nell looked over. She's like, "Oh, I thought that was Wyatt Russell." And I'm like, "No, no, that's his dad." Like, isn't that crazy? And like Wyatt Russell, wow. If you guys haven't seen him in
Oh,
much, dang, he is living up to his dad's
wow.
legacy. He is amazing.
I as soon as I looked him up, I know his face. I didn't recognize the
Yes.
name. I didn't even
Yep.
put two and two together.
Nope, that's his son. And they look exactly like each other when Kurt Russell was that age, and like Wyatt Russell is around that age now. It's
Yeah,
just insane. to
I
me.
first
That
seen
is
Wyatt
insane.
in Black Mirror. He's in that one
Yes,
Oh,
playtest.
that's where I saw him from.
VR
Yep.
Yeah.
episode. Yeah,
Yep, playtest is that's one of my favorite episodes, and I think that's where I first saw him too.
and I was like, this guy's stand out. Like he's going somewhere, and I didn't even put together he's already got the name. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah. I mean, yeah, he is a nepo baby, but I think he's carving out a name for himself. I'm not even gonna be like one of those people like, oh, you grew up with everything and you just got it. No, I think he's putting in the work,
Yeah,
honestly, and
for sure.
he glues me to the screen just like his dad always does. So that says something.
He's going to be in the upcoming the Night Swim that we talked about before.
Oh, I'm so excited. There we go.
That
Yeah, I remember first
James Bond
seeing
movie.
it's a James Bond movie. Hold up.
James
Where-
Wan director.
Oh, never mind. No, I
James
I
Wan.
first remember seeing him from Overlord.
Yes,
Oh,
yes,
He
that
played
is
a big
also
role in that one.
Yep, that's another early part where I saw him. Yep, I love that movie too.
Yeah, but other than that, I haven't seen him in much.
He is also in Ingrid Goes West. He plays a pretty big part in there. The movie with Elizabeth Olsen and Aubrey Plaza, where Aubrey Plaza is kind of a stalker on social media. Very good. You guys need to check it out if you haven't.
What was it called?
Ingrid Goes West.
Ingrid
Ingrid.
Goes West.
Yep.
Ingrid Goes West. Okay.
Yes, there you go.
If you like Kurt Russell and you want to see him in some older stuff, you should check out Escape from New York. It's also a John
Yes.
Carpenter film.
I
And
know
it's
I need
like-
to watch that one.
It's kind of like the basis for Metal Gear Solid, right?
Yeah,
I don't know the
think
full lore behind it.
Yeah, because his name is
Like
Snake
Plissken
in
there.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah. So yeah,
It's-
that is Metal Gear Solid.
yeah. It's really good if you haven't seen that yet, Hunter.
I
like
know
it a lot.
that is on my list for sure. It's on my watch list on Letterboxd. As I showed you, Andy, I have plenty of movies on my watch list right now, about like 300 some.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm
my gosh.
still working my way through it a lot.
There we go. Okay, I'm glad you're on it though.
So another thing about this movie I want to talk about is probably its biggest plus is the practical effects. Even down to the title card, where it's been a few years since I watched the documentary, but it's something like they burned a garbage bag over like a plate with the name on it to reveal the name like that. It's just a really cool effect that still like stands up today, and it's a little cheese, but I still like get chills every time watching the intro. I just
I
love
love
this
the
movie,
intro. It
and-
gets you right into it.
Yeah, and the practical effects also set this movie apart from any other horror movie, just because where else are you going to see like something popping out from the guy's chest in that way, where it was a chest mouth and
Yeah.
eating the arms
Yes.
of the other guy. Like,
Yeah, that was
Yep.
wild.
Oh,
I think
man.
only Alien could even come close to some of that kind of practical effect nature.
Yeah.
It's,
No, it's got some,
amazing.
but this one is on another level. And I was about to ask Andy, like, what are your favorite aspects from this movie? Like, what does it make it your favorite movie? Besides the practical effects that you just mentioned.
One of the biggest things I think that I realized recently of why I love this movie is because it's one of those ones where no matter how many times I've seen it, I notice things every time. And I have seen this so many times, and yet I don't even know some theories, some things that people talk about online. Like,
Mhm.
I'm still learning every time I watch this and delve into it more. I'm like, oh yeah, he could have been it at this point in the movie.
Mm.
Or maybe he was human, or like who burned McCready's jacket and ripped it up out there. Like, there's just so many things that you like go back and it's intentionally mysterious, and they're not giving you all the answers like a lot of movies do. You
Good point.
just kind of have to make up your own theories, and it's just good. The movie doesn't hold your hand, but you can still follow it really well.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. No, that's really good. Kind of like layers. It has a bunch of layers that you can peel back and still
Yeah,
still not get to the middle, right?
you yeah, because it's like even the ending is so ambiguous. Like so many theories about is Keith David a thing or not. Everyone knows
Hmm.
McCready's still a human at that point, but it's like, is he? Is he not? And people keep talking about theories, like, and then even going back to lore that we find out from the prequel, like, oh, but he's still got like an earring in. So obviously,
And
he can't be a.
metal can't touch the alien or a certain metal, I want to
They
say.
can't. They can't replicate non-organic
There
matter.
we go. Yep. It would have had to be, yeah, human with the earring already in there. Right.
Yep. Yeah, but there's just so much when you look back into the all the forums and stuff about this movie of like even the first shadow, the first person to get infected. It's like who was it? And it's just left very intentionally ambiguous because I think they filmed that scene and used someone's shadow who wasn't even in the movie just so you wouldn't be able to know who it is.
Oh,
And
yeah. Was it that part where the dog enters the room?
yep, and he just looks back and there's just the shadow on the wall. And then so you
Yeah.
get to these like gripping scenes, like the blood test scene. That's probably one of the
Yes.
most suspenseful in all of cinema.
There's where the thriller comes in for sure.
Yeah. And you just like, I don't know who it could be. Like, there's a couple people in here that went missing for a little bit, and you just never know.
But they all kind of had an alibi to not be there, though, too, and that's what gives it more suspense.
Yep.
More complexion, like,
Yeah,
yeah, more complex. There we go. Yeah, it's
yeah,
definitely not predictable, and you're unsure who's next or who's gonna, reveal that they have been infected or are the thing.
Yep. And this movie, like, these aren't your standard horror movie participants. Like, it's not a bunch of people doing very dumb things and getting killed by Michael. Like,
Dumb
these,
teenagers or some shit like yeah.
yeah. Everyone here is very smart and is constantly doing the right things in almost every situation to stop this thing. But you're
Yes.
just up against a force that is better than you. And that's
Yep.
where you get most of this movie from. Like, there's just only so much they could do. And yeah, I love all that kind of stuff about it. Along with it, of course, being very Lovecraftian esque in its nature, with a very like cosmic being.
Body horror.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. I will say, Andy, you know how I can't forgive this movie?
Oh.
When they start off with a Norwegian in a helicopter trying to snipe this dog that, could be my husky's brother, honestly.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I was like, what are you doing? Please stop this. Although I understand, it's just come on, And by the way, somebody's got to take that Norwegian's gun away. He's a horrible shot. Holy shit!
Terrible.
Yeah.
Oh my
Gary
god!
sure
How
isn't
many?
though.
How many shot? Oh, yeah. You're right.
Pops out that window and just one shots him in the face.
Oh, I know. With a pistol? Are you kidding? Yeah. And well, okay, starting off with that, getting us right into the movie with trying to shoot a freaking dog. I don't know why. John Carpenter, goddamn it. But okay, when the dog that is the thing goes into the kennel and is spraying shit all over these dogs, fucking webbing them up, I'm like, God, no, I know this is fake, but like I feel like these are real dogs and they're precious, they didn't do anything. And the horrible part, it actually shows like the dogs desperately trying to escape. I don't know how they
Yes.
trained them to do that, but that was very good and very well done. I was like, oh my God. And it goes on too long. Just cut it off.
Like to the
Yeah.
point where the dog was biting off chains on the fence to get out.
Exactly. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. Like, oh man, that just puts me through hell. And I hate to think about it every time I watch this movie. But of course, this movie just ropes me in and makes me
Yeah.
suffer through it. Yeah.
It's sad, and you get the semi-happy resolution to they burn the hell out of that one, and then only to
Yes.
come back later where I think it was Blair kills the rest of the dogs himself because he starts going
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, screw that guy.
Yeah, that guy sucks.
Yeah, God. Why did you have to do that? And they were mostly Huskies, guys, so it really hits hard. It really hits close to home with a
I
zero or
know.
with a Husky in my home.
Yeah,
They're
to make
such
it
good
worse,
dogs.
Clark, the dog handler, gets killed, and he's just a human, just because he was so also unsure about everything that's going on and just made a bad choice. And
He did
yeah,
make some bad decisions, and he really seemed sketchy. So, as an outsider, I'm kind of like, how don't you, suspect a guy like that? And he did
Mhm.
yeah,
spend a lot of time with the dog. That was the thing. So I don't know how he didn't get, you
you
know.
just gotta feel for him though. Like those dogs were like obviously his family. Like those were his pastime out there, and yeah, he took the loss hard and like would still like continue on and trying to figure this out.
I empathize with him. He's a dog guy. He's good in my books.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like it was a hard decision he had to make. He was trying to figure out like what to do about this situation, but like as soon as it came to the point where he found out that it was like, well, like he like the computer, which computers don't operate like that, but like it came
Yeah.
up with this probability
Yes.
of it taking over the entire world within 24 hours, and then he's like, okay, it's not leaving this place, we're all gonna die.
That's so silly, but
Yeah, that whole computer thing, I was like, what,
Oh
they really
man.
think that?
I mean,
Yeah, I was
yeah,
like,
no,
they really think
go on,
that
Eric.
computers operate like this, but I don't know. Maybe they're just thinking it's the future. I don't know.
yeah,
They still don't
Yeah,
operate like
like
that.
didn't know where computers would really lead to or go nowadays. But with your point, Eric, that global catastrophe that the computer was kind of signaling, like this movie, I feel is very contained. And obviously with the setting and the people you're with the whole time, that kind of adds to it feeling
Yeah.
contained. But it also gives the looming global event if the threat isn't eliminated at the end of this movie with that
Yeah.
computer. And it's kind of like I said, the visuals and that, not everything's explained to you, but you can kind of just see it and know what's going on.
hmm
Yeah, that's pretty much all it was too. It was just a plot point to show that like this is a dire situation. The whole world is at stake at this point. So it kind of makes you understand that, Blair going crazy on all the equipment there first for some reason. I don't know if it's like communications. Like he probably
yeah.
didn't want
He
anybody
destroyed the
to.
radio. He didn't
Yeah,
want
he
anyone
didn't
to
want.
come out.
Yeah, he didn't want anybody to come rescue them or something, because that would be it right there. That would be if it somehow got on a helicopter and went to mainland or something. That would be it.
Oh yeah. When the thing is tearing through this group of guys, you can actually understand and feel what would happen, if
Yep.
it got to mainland, and it
Mhm.
it really sets the stakes up really nicely. It's not just,
You're
I've
able to
seen too many
witness
movies. Yeah.
like how fast it like assimilated to where, I mean, because to be fair, it didn't infect more than one person at a time, which was a little surprising to me. Like, if
Yeah.
I think it would have been more interesting if it was like, two or three people like
Mhm.
at once, just trying to act normal, and then
I
I don't know.
think at one point there was two, but it's a very brief overlap.
Yeah,
Yes, which I think it's very interesting that the thing isn't just this one organism. It kind of splits off,
yeah,
which is
That's the
very interesting.
scariest part for me is the blood
Oh
running on the
yeah.
floor. Imagine
Yes.
like just one drop of blood creeping into you, you're infected.
Yep.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
all it takes.
It's like a single cell organism, and it operates independently from each, like with each cell, and that's like the scariest part, like a
Yeah,
virus pretty much.
I would really It would probably be bad. But wonder if John Carpenter would ever do like mix with the thing with like the road or something, where it does get to mainland in the world, and you just don't know who to trust, and you're just out there in this apocalypse now. Like
Dude,
maybe like 3 days into the event or something. I don't
that
know.
Right.
would be
That could be
awesome to
cool.
see.
Have you guys seen the movie Life
I have
Oh,
not.
with
with
is it
Jake Gyllenhaal,
Gyllenhaal?
Ryan
Yeah.
Reynolds? Yep,
Yep.
Rebecca Ferguson. Okay, I love that movie, and I feel like it does share a lot with The Thing without it completely being a like retread of it.
Yep.
But the ending of that, oh man, I'm getting into spoiler territory. But this movie came out years and years ago, guys. Like the ending of that, or do you guys want me to tell you the ending? I should
Sure.
ask.
I've seen it, so it's up to Eric.
Oh, okay, Eric.
Yeah, go
If
ahead.
you want to see it, I can totally leave it. Okay, the alien basically does get to mainland, and it's an open-ended like ending where they're just in a space pod in the ocean, and rescuers are coming, and the alien
Oh,
and like you're just like no, like stop, and then it ends. So that it shares a lot with The Thing, and you can kind of just imagine what would happen.
yeah.
That the dread from that scene, I could
It
see
is so
that
dreadful
translating really well if the
with
thing
this.
made it to mainland. Yeah.
Exactly. That's my point. Thank you, Andy, thank you for better explaining it. But yeah,
I love how much fire is in this movie. Like,
fire.
They love the fire.
for it's such a contrasting thing being in Antarctica and then just burning the fuck out of everything. I'm like, you guys are gonna light something bad and you're just gonna lose your
Yes.
whole home and freeze to death.
Yeah.
They just burn
Dangers.
it anytime they get. But it's another one of those mini things where these guys are scientists, or some of them probably are, and they understand the necessity of having to eradicate it fully rather than just chopping it up. So
Yep.
Yeah. I think as soon as they cut that dude's head off, and then his head started like growing legs and shit and going around, I think it
Eric,
was
that's on
time.
my
It's like
notes.
this thing needs to be destroyed.
actually, I
Dude,
want a tattoo of that, the little
yeah.
head with the spider legs. Like, I want a
No,
tattoo from
Andy,
the thing, and that's what I'm
please,
gonna do.
God, no.
You're gonna what?
That's gonna be it.
I want a tattoo of the head with the spider legs.
Hell no, dude.
No, yeah, Eric, you're with me, right? Like, let's ban Andy from going into a tattoo parlor now because
Stop
that
him at
idea,
all
let's throw
costs.
that out the window. No
Yeah.
way.
You will definitely
Dude,
regret that.
that Spiderhead scene is so like it's funny to me in a very unfunny movie,
Yeah.
but so simple. But like I don't know, it's just it gives more of the what word am I looking for? Kind of just grossness aspect, I guess. Like, I can't think of the right word.
Grotesque.
It's grotesque. There we go. It's like, oh my God. And the
Yeah.
way that they like made that head and face actually look pretty dang good and pretty
Yeah,
close to that actor. Like, dang, good for whoever made that, honestly.
it's one of those scenes too where the audience's reaction is almost one for one par with Kurt
With the
Russell and
character,
Palmer, whoever's there, because they
right?
look at it and they're just like, "What the
What
fuck?"
the Yeah, exactly. That's your genuine reaction. And it's like, yeah, we're all what the fucking this right now?
Yep. Wasn't there a hand too that was walking around on its own? Or am I not thinking of the right thing? Like,
I think
you know
that's
what I'm
just the
thinking of,
head
like
that grows the legs.
just the head. Okay, I mean
Yeah.
it's like some
Hey,
Addams
Eric, are you
Family
thinking
shit.
of are you thinking the Addams Family? Yeah.
Yeah, the thing.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
Mr. Thing. Or his
Thing.
name is Thing.
Thing.
Yeah.
It's just Thing. Yep.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, that really coincides with this movie. There we
It
go.
does.
Hey,
Yeah.
I get where it was creeping into your mind there. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Well, and what you're saying, Andy, too, with the fire, like eviscerating this thing, it gives me the chills and like just creeps me out that if you don't do something like that to it, it's gonna split off and it's
Hmm.
hard to track it down, just
Yep.
these different body parts going, and it's I don't know. Yeah, just it's a force to be reckoned with for sure.
I think
There's
even like so like even if it was just the blood goes everywhere. That is a liquid. So like you know how absolutely bonkers it would be to try to contain this it definitely would have been game over if it did hit mainland or something, cuz like there's
Hmm.
just absolutely no way. Not everybody owns a flamethrower. And and if it
Yeah.
not,
infects enough people, like even just like 100 people, like that's it. There's no
not
way.
not for the lack of Elon Musk trying though.
Yeah,
Some billionaire is gonna try it, and let's see what
absolutely.
happens. No, and it does seem very good at trying to camouflage itself. So that is the thing that worries me the most. Like, how do you know, other than these very subtle differences, that that's not who you think it is?
Yeah,
Yeah,
It
like
was very good at blending in,
the
and
mystery of it, you know?
the yes,
Like how does this being like first of all it knows how to replicate other organisms, and then on top of that it knows how to act like them. I mean, for the most part, the dog was pretty, I mean, that dog was acting weird.
well, as soon as it started laying down and just staring at the wall, you're like, okay, what are you
mhm.
doing?
But all the
You
Yeah.
other
know?
dogs could tell. Like some of them are growling, and
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
dogs are too smart for our own good. We should have listened
Just
to the
from the higher
dogs.
senses. Yeah.
Yeah, somebody should have been around to listen to those dogs.
Absolutely.
there's one other thing that ages this movie. I just remembered when they finally do tackle Blair when he's
Mhm.
breaking everything. That's also a really cool scene where McCree really takes control of the situation and it's like get a table and sends Keith David over to the side to distract him.
Yep.
They get him down and they punch him and you hear like just really bad old movie sound effect
Oh, kind
punches.
of a
It's like
pew,
it's like
pow,
pom
pow,
pom.
Yeah.
pow, pow.
uh, Blair might be if it wasn't for McCready's hair, Blair might be my favorite character in this movie. 'Cause you also get
Okay.
probably the funniest like dark humor scene with him when he's locked up in the shack later, where
Hmm.
McCready opens the sliding window and Blair's like, "I really want to not be in here anymore," and you just see a noose behind him. Like he
Oh
doesn't
Oh
god.
acknowledge
yeah.
it.
No, I noticed that too. I'm like, is anybody gonna say anything about this noose? What the hell? Yeah,
Just
it's just hanging there, just
It's like I
for
really
everyone to
want to come
see.
inside right now, McCready.
Yeah, no. And also, sorry, just thought about Kurt Russell, like almost being kind of that main character. Like, I really appreciate that this movie does kind of spread it around pretty well, and that it's not from it's not from McCready's perspective,
Yeah,
and it actually places quite a bit of suspicion on him in a good, natural way.
they do.
It's not too obvious. It's like that scene where he looks cold as hell and the guys, come running to him. He's got the flamethrower ready, you know, and defending himself like that. I was like, holy crap, it actually kind of places very good suspicion on
Yeah,
our kind of main character protagonist.
yeah. Like once you get to the blood testing scene, I think you start to realize, oh, the thing probably wouldn't be doing that. But yeah, he's trying to get into the building. Was it Knowles? I think locks him out, and they're like, I think that thing got to him, so I ditched him in the cold.
Yeah.
They find that shredded T-shirt of McCready's earlier, and there's just a lot of suspicion, and you as the audience member don't even know because it didn't put that focal point enough on McCready for you to really know
No.
if he's killable or not.
Yeah. Yeah, and with that like shredded up shirt, I love the little pieces of evidence that are kind of strewn throughout this plot. It just really gets you thinking and like, okay, what significance is this to what's going on in the mystery? And like, okay, and your expectations really shift It's just very good at keeping that mystery going and the who done it aspect, basically. Yeah.
It's another minor thing about this movie not holding your hand. I don't think they
Yes.
ever specifically address it in this one, but it's in the prequel. Also, another reason why the prequel isn't as good is it explains everything. Um,
Oh yeah.
but they don't address in this movie that it rips up your clothes. And so they find the overalls or whatever early in the movie, but they just kind of ignore it. And then you see McCready's later, and that's kind of, I think, when they realized that they thought he was a thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly that.
Yeah, there's so many like behind the scenes things for this movie. Like someone put McCready's shirt there, ripped it up, and then burned. Fuck, everyone's just got one word names. I can't remember who it is. Someone picks up his shirt out there and then gets burned to death, and they're like, "Would he just drop the flare on himself? Like what happened?" And that never gets answered. And then somehow McCready's shirt ends up in McCready's shack, and then that's why Knowles ditches him.
Yeah.
So the thing is doing so many smart things, like trying to turn people on each other, that it's just insane. It's not just a monster.
Really playing its hand well. And like, yeah, that's what I can appreciate. It's funny how Keith David has been in both movies I've been a guest on.
Yeah.
Yeah, Coraline with the cat, and yeah, no, he's killing it. He's amazing.
It's really cool.
Has such an iconic voice.
Yeah,
for sure.
He does. I know. It's interesting seeing him that young too. Kind of like seeing a very young like Samuel L. Jackson too.
Yep.
It just kind of catches you off guard a little bit. It's like, oh my
Yeah.
god, that's Keith David.
Yeah. That's one of the things I was gonna say. But David, I seen him in this movie, and I'm like, I recognized him when I like first watched this, but I didn't know if I really knew him. But I knew the voice because, of course, he's the fucking Arbiter from Halo,
Yep.
which is awesome.
Oh, he does do a voice on Halo, huh?
Yeah, he's a huge character in Halo,
I did not know that. Okay.
and he does so much voice work that it's just so rare for me to actually like see him in things. So obviously he's the cat in Coraline that we covered, and he just does a lot of video game stuff and a lot of animation too.
Yeah.
A lot of voice work, kind of like he reminds me a little bit of Mark Hamill in that way, where Mark Hamill, you recognize him like in his face and actually acting in things, of course, like Star Wars and such, but he does such like different voice work and he's got a distinct voice.
Tons of voice work. I remember he was the president in Rick and Morty.
Yes, yep.
did,
I think
yeah.
about that all the time because I rewatch Rick and Morty religiously.
Oh yeah, it's so
bedtime.
good.
That's one I throw on. Can't wait to watch this new season and see what the voice work is like now that they, replaced. But
Yeah, it's I'm sure it's going to be a little different too because he did a lot of the writing too on the show. So not on top of the voices. So I mean,
very true.
One of the main producers of this or creators of this show is just gone. So it's going to be, I don't know, interesting.
Going to be different, but I'm hopeful.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys are talking about Rick and Morty?
Yep.
Oh, yeah. I can't remember his name right now, but
and Justin Roiland.
Justin Roiland, yeah, who's dealing with his own stuff right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff in this movie. I could talk about it for a long time, but I kind of also want to hear about what you guys have been watching lately in other media.
You go ahead, Eric.
Yes. I seen a movie recently that I would recommend called Pain Hustlers. It is a movie talking about the pharmaceutical industry doing like crooked stuff back in the day. I mean, not even back in the day. It was like it took place fairly recent.
Is this about the opioid epidemic?
Yes, kind of. It's more of like a pharmaceutical company like paying doctors to push their product, and
Okay.
it has fentanyl in it, and it ends up being like a pretty bad epidemic for the you know cancer patients, especially when they start going off description and shit. So yeah, it's really good. It's got some interesting elements to it, like it's like half documentary, I guess. I mean, not even like half. It's got like some documentary elements to it where they're kind of telling a story, but also like a lot of like movie scenes and stuff are in it. It's like mostly movie scenes, but like there's some like documentary like interviews like here and there throughout it, which is pretty interesting. So in the end, it like goes over like the whole story of how like the rise and fall of this one company, and it's really cool.
Hmm. That's actually right
Interesting.
up my alley. I'll have to add that to my list.
Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely.
Yeah, my
Hey,
wife
now
and I
I've
are
watched.
really excited to watch that.
I've been watching so much stuff with Blunt lately.
Oh, she's
She's a
great.
treasure. Yep. Love her. Anything else, Eric?
No, that's all I got. I mean, I've seen Gen V, which is the spin-off from The Boys, which is really good. Just as over the top, just as gory as The Boys. So it's a really fun time. There's
Love
9
it.
episodes in the first season so far. So
I'm so excited to turn that one on.
Oh my god. Kind of off topic, but still sort of. Emily Blunt is rumored to be in a 2024 sequel to Edge of Tomorrow.
really,
Oh man,
a
that's been in
sequel?
development for a long time, I feel. I can't wait. I love Edge of Tomorrow.
That's one of my favorite like time travel esque movies. It's really good.
It's it's so good. I don't know, it just does a
Oh,
yeah.
I was thinking. I'm like a sequel. I was thinking of The Day After Tomorrow. I'm
The
like
day after.
that's an apocalypse movie. Pretty sure the
Yeah.
world ended, but
There's no
yeah,
time
Edge of
travel
Tomorrow
in
was good.
there.
Yeah, I'm like until you started talking about time travel, I'm like, oh, it's that Tom Cruise movie with the future. Yeah, that one's a fun movie.
Day After Tomorrow is also a really good January movie to watch when you're tucked inside and you're like, oh, at least I'm not that
Yeah,
cold.
thank God I'm not in that.
I actually have to watch that one all the way through. And my boy Gyllenhaal is in there, so I can't believe I haven't yet, but I will, guys. It's definitely on my letterbox list.
Very
Yeah,
young
it is
Gyllenhaal.
very good. It was like that was like I've seen that when I was really young. And then I just think about it sometimes when it's like really cold outside. I'm like, this could be it, you know?
Yeah.
Everything's just gonna start freezing.
Yeah.
I think this is when the movie starts. Yep.
Yep. It's like I'm thinking of that ice age. It's about to hit, man.
Yeah.
That's
Oh my
that's good. Yeah, we were talking about Emmerich as well before the podcast, and that's one of his films. It's one of those disaster movies, and I think that's one of the few
Oh,
good
okay.
ones of his, though.
That makes sense. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, he's just kind of in that niche of disaster movies, huh?
Yeah, he did because that 2012 Moonfall, which is a recent terrible movie.
Yeah, I did not want to watch that one at all.
Yeah, I
Dang.
heard it was bad, and I'm like, yeah, I'm just gonna avoid that one.
Yikes. Oh
Yeah, I
man.
was so disappointed. What have you been watching, Hunter?
Okay, so yeah, quite a bit. Obviously, I'm gonna plug the Fall of the House of Usher a little bit. I mostly raved about it on my Movie Monday already, but wow, guys, please, if you're an Edgar Allan Poe fan or Mike Flanagan, I want him to get out there as much as he can, because wow, he's just changing the horror game, and horror is one of my favorite genres. So I just love that it feels fresh and new again with him. So definitely check that out on Netflix. My wife and I both loved that. And I kind of did just wrap up. watching a lot of spooky things. I really took spooky season seriously, guys. Like all of October, every day, all day, it was spooky stuff. Like rewatching, watching some new stuff. There's, if you guys like anthology, there's Tales of Halloween, a movie, and it takes place. It's kind of like Trick or Treat in a way. It takes place in the same town and just random stories. I won't say that all the stories are perfect, but some like really are entertaining and get you.
Mhm.
So if you're into that stuff, watch that. I did rewatch quite a bit of the Saw movies again because it's been a while. The first
Yeah.
one, wow, I
Gearing up
love
for
that one.
Saw X. Have you seen that one yet?
That's the thing. Yeah, that's why I wanted to rewatch because yeah, no, I still haven't seen Saw X, but I really want to watch that one. It's on my list. And Jigsaw. The first Saw and Jigsaw are two movies up there for me. I'd say it kind of loses its shape in the middle movies and
Yeah.
stuff. And but I do appreciate the big complicated story put together. That's
Mhm.
why, I do tell people check it all out, and if you can handle gore.
A lot of
Yeah, that's
gore.
So,
definitely gore.
oh yeah, it's the king of gore for sure.
Yep.
Up there, I'd put
Um,
it up with like Hostel, but I think Saw is easier to watch.
really?
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't honestly I think Hostel is a bit more tame compared to Saw though.
Like
I
the
Eric, I might
first,
agree with you there.
I think the first few Hostels are worse, especially like it might be the first or second one where they like cut the guy's back of his heels off and stuff. I think people
Oh,
die a lot faster in Saw.
Yeah.
okay. I gotta revisit those then, especially with Eli Roth coming out with Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
I'm excited for that one.
Speaking of that relation, Hoffman is in Thanksgiving, and he was in the first Hostel as well.
Oh, whoa. Okay, that's a nice
He's
connection.
the guy with the big mustache in the trailer. He's in
Oh,
Suits.
of
He's a really good
course.
character in Suits, which I've been watching.
I know. I need my wife and I are gonna hop on that series soon. We need a new series. Well, and one series that we're still like working on and trying to close out because it's coming out weekly. The new Goosebumps series on Disney Plus.
Yes, I was
That
actually going to recommend that one to you.
yes. Okay, so you've seen all of it, Andy? Like up to
I am 4 episodes in, I think, right now. I just started it
okay.
last night, but I've been binging it. It's good.
Okay, it adds to the nostalgia of obviously reading the Goosebumps series as a kid, but also watching those episodes that came out of it, the live action in the like 90s or whatever.
Yep.
Wow. And I've just been craving like seeing it on screen again. And wow, this one caught me off guard, really. I thought it'd be a lot more suited to kids like the other live action was. And the live action movie that came out with Jack Black, that I'd say that's geared more towards kids and a younger
Yeah.
crowd. But this one is more, it's got some dark stuff in it actually, and a
I,
little more grown up.
I think if I had to give this a tagline, it's this is for the people who read Goosebumps as Goosebumps came out. Like, because
There
now
we go.
you're
There we
grown
go.
up and you're ready for the next step of
Yes.
not like straight horror, but it's more.
It's more. It's more. And they definitely they connect the books very well with the books that they're rolling with and the
Yep.
story that they're going with. I can't recommend it enough to anybody that feels nostalgia for Goosebumps whenever its name pops up anywhere. And the cast is really good. Some people that I have never seen, but these young actors and actresses, like they're doing really well in it.
Yeah, and they actually their tagline works really well as well. It's scarier than you remember, so it kind of tells you right away that we're going to take the basis of the books and then go a little bit further.
That's
So
good.
Yes.
I like
Yep.
that.
So Eric, check it out if you haven't. Oh man, I can't recommend
Yeah,
it more.
I'm gonna be honest. I never really got too far into Goosebumps when I was young. The only Goosebumps I ever read was the Slappy one. I read that
yeah,
all the way
Night of the
through.
Living Dummy.
Yeah,
Yep, and he's in it.
He's in it.
in this. He's
Okay.
gotta be. That is a Goosebumps staple. And Eric, I think you just got on my shit list now that you haven't seen Goosebumps. Dang it.
I know.
Man.
I really
No,
need
it's all
to.
good.
I should check that one out for sure.
That's
You
on
gotta.
Hulu and Disney Plus, so you got some
Yes,
options there.
since they're connected. Yep, for sure.
All
And
right.
also still working on Loki as a series, and that's really about it. And I could go on and on about the current state of Marvel. Just
Pretty bad.
not as happy with it, of course, and I've been hearing it from a lot of people and the same thing.
Yeah, I was
And
scrolling through the phase list again because you gave me the really good idea looking through your letterbox of doing an MCU rankings list.
yep, awesome.
So I started building
Love
one
it.
of those, and then I was like, "Oh my
Hell
god,
yeah,
Phase
Andy.
5 just doesn't interest me
Yeah.
like compared to
No,
these other ones."
no, my friends and I were just talking today. Like, Guardians 2 was kind of the only highlight in this sea of not so good, you know? And it's just kind of sad to see it kind of fallen a little bit. But I mean, it's definitely it's quality over quantity. They just gotta stop.
For
Yeah.
this current phase, for
Yes.
Yep.
Yep.
Guardians 3.
Guardians 3, sorry. Yep, Guardians Volume 3. That very good movie. It's probably in one of my top movies for the year.
That's
You know?
still, I think that might be one of my favorite MCU films. Like,
I know.
Gunn
It
is just
came
a
out late.
legend.
He is. And I would tell anybody right now, like, I have not been a fully encompassed MCU fan throughout like this whole run. I would say I kind of have picked and choose what I love. And I mean, I'm a big Spider-Man guy, so I really enjoyed this MCU take on him and everything to do with him. And I mean, even a series that came out not too long ago, Moon Knight, I was so excited to see that live action. And I might be biased, but I do love it. But yeah, really picking and choosing. I don't love it as a whole, like some fanatics. And hey, that's great if you do love it as a whole. But going forward, I would say I'm only excited for a couple things and not so excited for others. You know?
I could say, as someone
I
who's
agree.
been to quite a few movies in person lately, I am so tired of seeing Marvel's trailers.
I know.
The Marvels
Yes.
for Brie Larson and the other two, and yeah, I'm not looking forward to it. I'm not interested in it.
Me neither.
The trailers look so cookie cutter from everything Marvel, and
Same Marvel.
I
Yep.
just want to stop seeing these. Show me Blade. That's the only one I'm maybe looking forward to.
Oh, I know.
Same.
That is on the list, and the Daredevil series. Like I want them to get darker here. I've been telling people that for a long time. Get these darker things in there. Thank God Deadpool 3 will be rated R. I mean, I do feel bad for children that do really love Marvel and stuff, and maybe this wouldn't really be their cup of tea, and obviously their parents aren't maybe gonna want them watching this violent stuff. And that's okay. But also, like, you have a big range of audience members, and you know, like you can put a few here, few there. You know, just get a little darker and gritty. You know,
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, they put out what 4 or 5 movies a year now. Like
Yes.
you guys can afford to do maybe like 2 for the adults,
couple.
3 for the
Oh,
kids.
absolutely. They're dumping
Exactly.
millions into these movies.
They need
Hundreds
to
of
focus.
millions.
Yeah. They need to focus more into specific genres. They need to get, like, you know, Captain America Winter Soldier feel. That was a
Yep.
spy thriller. That was
Mhm.
different from what they did previously. Like all of them are feeling the same,
Or
and
Moon
just,
Knight.
it's oversaturated.
Why Moon Knight stands out is because it's unique. Like
Yes,
Moon Knight's
I
got
like
like
Moon Knight.
horror elements in it that are really
Yep.
good.
It's not perfect. I will say it, but I love it. I love it probably more than a lot of people out there. But yeah,
Definitely
I felt
top
like
tier
it was
Marvel,
pretty
though.
popular. Yeah, thank you. I'm glad you're on the same train.
And before I go to my recommends, I also just want to say that we need more Egyptian media because the Egyptian gods
Please.
are so underrepresented.
Mythology in general, Andy, I'm with
Yeah,
you.
and we have stupid shit like the gods of Egypt, but we don't get much
Yes.
good stuff like Moon Knight. So we need more Egyptian media.
I agree. A lot of faltering things and just haven't gotten it right. And that's why Greek mythology too is at the top of my list. I'm so excited for this new Percy Jackson series because I
Yeah.
loved reading that as a kid. I hope they get it right this time as compared to the movies. Just
Yep.
yeah, and I think there's been this Netflix series for a long time called Chaos with a Kaos, I want to say, and it's supposed to be a modern take on Greek mythology and
Interesting.
how it just affects our world nowadays, and they just haven't come out with it yet. I've been hearing it for like 4 or 5 years, and it's on Netflix. You can search it, and it is an existing series, just nothing, it's kind of like, oh, coming soon,
Okay.
and I'm like, where the hell is this, guys? Come on.
So for my recommended, I got two. I'm gonna do a related one, which would of course be the prequel, The Thing from 2011. Mary Elizabeth Winstead, of course, as I mentioned. Uh, Stellar movie, not as good as this one, but it's still a good horror movie in my opinion. If
I
people
might have
haven't
to
seen that
revisit
one,
Andy just for you.
yes, and it's I think that one's on Netflix as well, and then it's also on
Mhm.
Tubi, of course. So, but I've talked about that one a lot on this episode. The unrelated one I have is one that I found on Netflix called 14 Peaks. Nothing is impossible, and this was
Oh,
one that is kind of out of the movie wheelhouse. Like it's more of a documentary type motivational film. It's really good. Like if you just want a motivational film, this one is just amazing. And it's about a guy climbing the 14 highest peaks in the world. He's trying to do it in under a year and break this record. And it just brings such a loving view on hiking and climbing, as well as just being a really good motivational movie, not only for his country of Nepal, but for just climbers all over the world and stuff. It's good. I'd highly recommend it.
awesome. Awesome. I recently just got into hiking after our trip to up to Canada and doing actual hikes. Because I mean, what do we have around North Dakota that we can really hike? Not a lot. So I
Yeah.
haven't really been exposed to that, but wow, I might have to check that out actually. That sounds really interesting.
Yeah, I agree. That does sound interesting. I mean, the 14 peaks in
Yeah,
1 year,
wow.
that's got to be the hardest thing.
Yeah.
Like,
In a
It's been
year.
a couple of months since I've seen it now, but I thought he mentioned the previous record was like over a decade. And so his team tried to do it in under a year.
oh
And
my
it just
god.
Oh, wow.
it's really good. And it just not only like amazing because he did this recently. Like this is in the last 5 years, I think that he did this and recorded it all. So it's like
I can't believe I
actual
didn't.
footage from
He,
like up on the mountains, like GoPros, drones, stuff like that, and it's beautifully shot and like just you get awestruck watching some of these peaks.
mhm. I can't believe I didn't hear any news on this guy. And I mean, yeah, maybe just waiting for the documentary to come out and release it all, I suppose. But
Yeah,
wow.
and
Okay.
I think that's something that he is kind of trying to address in this as well. That you hear so much about Western climbers, but you don't really hear about people that these from these countries where the mountains actually are. So yeah, it's interesting. I like it.
That's awesome though. Like, yeah, testament to humanity.
Yeah, amazing. And we don't know much about these remote places. So, like, really interesting, I'm sure. Little backstory.
Yes, and since I was going to shout out Goosebumps, I'm going to give a bonus one of
Okay, let's go.
Barbarian, which was on your movie Monday.
Thank
But
you, Andy.
I just briefly wanted to say how much this movie was great, and then
Yes.
Justin Long is in that, who's also in Goosebumps, and
Yes. Yep.
it's just good. Skarsgård. I won't spoil anything, but stellar in there. And
Bill's always amazing.
Yeah, all the Skarsgårds are. I think
no, they are. And I mean, I think Bill kind of broke off from just being a horror guy because he was obviously in Hemlock Grove, that Netflix series that was about werewolves and vampires, and he was a vampire on there.
Yeah.
And
Pennywise.
I checked all of that out. And yeah, I was just gonna say Pennywise. So he was very linked to horror. And especially, I mean, Barbarian is also horror. But I would say thrown into the mix there just recently, John Wick 4. He played an amazing villain in an action movie. Like he's got range. I want to give him more credit than he has been given.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah. Alexander Skarsgård is also just one of my favorites. His brother, wow. He's been all over and he's dipped into many genres as compared to Bill. So he's shown off range, and I love him. I can't wait to keep seeing both of them.
And his dad, Stellan.
Oh man, Stellan. Oh yeah,
who's in
so good.
Dune, who's going to be coming back out again. So
yes, yep. I'm pretty sure he was in The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo as well. One of Fincher's other movies.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, he's just, I don't know, he's amazing in everything he's in.
Yeah. You guys got any final thoughts on the Thing?
Original Among Us.
Mm-hmm.
It was you.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't me.
Before Among Us.
On vent.
Type in the chat real quick.
No, like it was good. I like that movie.
Yeah. So with Spooky Month at an end, we're going back to everything else, though we'll probably still cover some spooky movies throughout the year. Next month, we're going to be doing, or this month, since we're a little late, we're going to be doing The Game from 97. One of the movies.
David Fincher, my guy.
Yeah.
Coming out with The Killer soon, guys. It's going to drop on Netflix.
Yeah, and then so we do have some changes to social media. Obviously, we have the Discord still in the description. Email us at hazardousopinionspod@gmail.com or reach out to us on our Instagram at hazardousopinionspod. But you guys should also check out Hunter's Instagram, who does the Movie Mondays. What's your tag, Hunter?
Hunter Strickland 42. I'll make sure on that.
Yeah, I can link that in the description too.
Perfect.
And then,
Hunter Strickland 42, all lowercase.
Perfect. And then, if you guys are on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, there's a little review thing on Spotify. It's just as easy as clicking some stars at the top of the episode. It helps us out, helps us get recommended to other people who like movies. So always do that and let us know your thoughts. Email us, message us, or even just chat in the Spotify description. There's a little chat feature. And let us know what movies you guys want us to cover.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
Alrighty, I think that's it for all of Spooky Month here. We will see you guys next time.
Goodbye.
Bye, guys. Thanks for listening.